Welcome to the Wheel of Metal.
I like
well done.
Metal at the end. That was awesome, man. Thank you. Courtesy of Kyle Graves. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of, not Wheel of Prog or Wheel of Rock this time. We are doing Wheel of Metal. We have a very special guest, Mr. Charlie Griffiths from Haken. How are you, man?
Doing good. That was
well,
you,
and we should say,
yeah. I thought it was Alfred.
I was going to say thank you, Rob Alford, for that stunning intro. We have upped. Yeah. Listen, we spare no expense here. Like I said, we upped the production value on the show for this episode.
Thank
you
you.
know what I mean? So we're here to rank sort of 80s to early 90s metal records. So you're going to see Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, Dio, all those kind of things for a whole bunch of fun. Also joining is Vic. How you doing, man?
Doing terrific. Thanks for having me. Hard to believe that we have gotten to the point where we're doing metal, which about damn time.
It's fun. You know what? This is a great crew for it.
Yeah.
What's that?
You run out of prog already?
Already, yeah.
we can't do Haken because Haken doesn't have enough for Wheel of Prog. So, we got to figure something else out.
Yeah, you're going to need to make a couple more albums first. You got to hurry up already. No, we want to try and mix it up a little bit. And we've realized that all of us, and even the Prog fans that follow the channel, all like different things too. So it's been a lot of fun to sort of bring some other stuff in. And Vic and Kyle here are our resident metal guys. I am in the metal world. Some of these albums were not albums that I was completely familiar with, I will admit, but a lot of them I was very much so. And really, Charlie, it's a good way to talk about your new album, the new Tiktaalika record, Gods of Pangaea, which comes out on March 14th. And it is inspired by these albums. I mean, straight up, right? So I want to ask you about it a little bit and let you talk about the record. So you had the first Tiktaalika record, which was Charlie Griffiths' Tiktaalika, was a similar vein. Now it's just called Tiktaalika. It's its own thing. Talk about the new record a little bit.
Yeah. So the first one was more in a sort of prog metal crossover kind of area where it was like, extended songs and like keyboard pads and lots of layers of guitars and this and that. But this time I wanted to kind of strip it back and have much fewer things going on at the same time, if you know what I mean. So It was just like I just wrote the album as being here's a guitar riff and a drum beat. Right, so it's like two things happening. Like all those albums like Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax. It was like you can play the song just by hearing the riff and what the drums are doing, right? And then that's the extent of the composition, really. And then once you've got that, put lyrics on it, right? So that was essentially the approach I took. And I mean, this was the era, like this early 90s, late 80s kind of era that really formed my taste in metal. And it hasn't really changed since then.
Right.
No need to. Love it.
Right. Guys, if you have a question for Charlie on this, please chime in. But what were the, do you have a favorite band from that era or favorite albums that you sort of remember that were the ones that you still like today?
Yeah. I'd say Peace Sells, Megadeth, Peace Sells, and Justice for All was, I mean, I was kind of limited, really. I just had a Walkman,
right,
and would buy cassettes, right? And I didn't have the means to like buy every album by every band, so I just kind of had my and Justice for All cassette, my Peace Sells cassette, and a few others like Death, Spiritual Healing, and I would just kind of cycle through maybe like 10 albums at the time, and it was that was kind of my life. I would just, I guess that was a similar story for most people, where you were just kind of
you know what? It's you don't realize it now, but when you're studying, we're doing this wheel stuff, and you're trying to figure out, okay, here's 20 albums we're gonna rank or whatever, and I don't know, let's say 5 or 6 of them. You can quickly just find the 5 you want in 2 seconds, whereas before that was going to cost you a little bit of money. But talk about, you have a few different guests on the record again. So who's playing on it, and some of the guest singers you have on there?
So we've got Darby Todd. He's playing drums.
Awesome. Yep.
People probably know him from being in Devin's band nowadays. Incredible drummer. He's very kind of well versed in this particular era of metal. Like Anthrax is one of his favorite bands. Charlie Benante's a big influence for him. And we've got Connor on bass from Haken. And he wasn't even alive at this time. So
oh, kids, young kids.
Come on, little Connor. Nice.
But it was like, I kind of like roped him into it, but just because he was just of his own volition and just for his own interest. He was transcribing Master of Puppets. So he was just writing out all Cliff Burton's bass. I spotted the t-shirt. Like Cliff Burton bass style is kind of, it's kind of unique. Really, it was unique at the time, where it was like almost like a kind of jazzy approach. He was almost like doing like Jaco Pastorius kind of lines, like under the riffs, and he wasn't always matching what Hetfield was doing. Which just gives it more depth and just more interesting. So when I saw Connor was doing that and studying that, I was like, oh, maybe you could bring that kind of style to this album, and so that was kind of the approach there. Then I brought back some singers from the first album. So I've got Tommy Rogers, who's on one track, that the latest single, Lost Continent. And we've got Daniel de Jong, he's in a band called Textures. And he's on 3 tracks. And he's got like an amazing kind of range of vocal style.
Yeah, he's great.
He's got like a real kind of he can do the aggressive screaming, and but he's also got this amazing melodic range where he can go like really low and super high, and he's just got he's just kind of he's just got this amazingly full tone that I love. It's very kind of soulful. Who else we got? We got a guy called Vladimir Lalish, who's he was on the first album, and he's much more kind of Devin-esque meets kind of Warrell Dane a little bit. And he's, there's a couple of tracks he's on, which I kind of was looking for a kind of more sort of Merciful Fate, King Diamond-esque kind of delivery, where it would be kind of more dramatic, more theatrical. And then finally, we've got Rhodey Walker from a Canadian band called Protest the Hero. And he's amazing singer. And he kind of brought this sort of Anthraxy kind of style. He was kind of like, his tone reminds me a little bit of Joey Belladonna. And so, yeah, he's on a really fun track, and he kind of really brought the energy. Yeah,
it's fun stuff, man. It's really great. The single you're talking about with Tommy Rogers, Lost Continent. If you guys haven't seen the video, it's amazing. Yeah, it's just an awesome animation with tributes to a lot of the records we're going to talk about today. It's just brilliant.
Yeah,
that was going to be my question.
Is that the same? Go ahead.
I was going to ask Charlie, because for those of us in our age bracket, which shall remain unlabeled for now. When we grew up with all these album covers and everything else, can you tell us an idea of how you arrived at doing this kind of video that just has all these Easter eggs and tributes to the bands that influenced you to do the album?
Well, I mean, I've got the album. Hang on, let me show you. Oh, excuse me. So,
oh, that looks awesome.
I've got the vinyl already.
I'm gonna need one of those. That looks so cool.
That's killer.
That's fantastic.
Dinosaurs and metal.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of inspired by, I wanted it to be like, there's nothing more fun than going into a record store and just flicking through the bins and seeing what you find. Yep. And I wanted it to kind of be, someone kind of randomly finds this in there and they think, when in 1991 was that album released? Right. I missed that one.
Right.
Mission accomplished. It looks like.
Yeah.
Yep.
So perfect. There was an artist at that time called Ed Repka, and he did Spiritual Healing.
I thought that looked very familiar as far as that style. That's exactly who.
He did Leprosy, Scream Bloody Gore. He did Rust in Peace by Megadeth. Okay. Peace Sells. Okay. And so that was kind of initially how Dan Goldsworthy and I bonded over our love for Ed Repka, and because he can just nail that style. I like to call him Ed Replica, just as a name.
Very cool.
Yes, shout out to Dan Goldsworthy, who did our Prog Report 10th anniversary logo, which we've shown over before, and a bunch of Haken stuff for you guys. And he's just amazing, just super talented.
Yeah, so it wasn't.
So you're saying
in the video, it wasn't really difficult for him to.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So you said the singer Tommy Rogers, is it? That's the singer.
Yeah.
Between the Buried and Me.
On the single that you just released, that's this one singer.
Yeah.
It's not two different singers. Yeah. I love the fact that a singer can do that deep death stuff and then have a clean voice too. I thought it was two different people.
He's a singer from Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah.
Amazing band from North Carolina.
That's awesome.
Here.
Yeah, he's amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. Again, the record is Gods of Pangaea under Tiktaalika. So if you look for it everywhere, that's what it's under.
We're rating that one now, are we?
Yeah, straight D tier. Charlie's album comes out on March 14th, so please check it out and watch the videos. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. And there's the wheel and our Wheel of Metal logo.
Nice.
And all right, so we have 20 albums.
That's a lot of albums.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're gonna have to make this quick. We 20's a lot. But all right, so we're each gonna spin. We're gonna go around five times, I guess. Keep it simple. So Charlie, just to make sure you understand what we're doing here. When an album lands on, it's your turn and it lands on one album. You're then going to rank it on one of these 5 rows, S being the best, the D being the worst. Okay. The game, though, is that there's a limit to 4 albums per row. So you have to eventually put something in C and D and, that kind of thing. So if at some point later on an album is full with 4, a row is full with 4 albums, let's say you wanted to put an album in B, but there's already 4 in there, you can put the album you want in there, but then you got to move an album up or down to another row.
Okay.
So you can adjust stuff and mess with other people's picks. That's the fun. And that's why we do it this way. 'Cause we get people sometimes, well, why don't you just let people put it in any row they want? Well, that's no fun. Because then every album would end up in S or A. What are we doing?
Exactly.
Okay. Yep. So, I guess, you know what? I'll go first. Vic, Kyle, Charlie. Okay. So Charlie, you'll have the end, the very last pick to really shape how this thing's going to turn out.
So, I'll hopefully figure out what to do.
Here we go.
Yeah. You'll get it by then. You'll get it by then. Okay. Scorpions, Love at First Sting. That's the first one. That's a good one to start with. I'll be honest, I was sort of surprised that was one we settled on to include, because it sort of has hits, like real mainstream top 40 hits that like are big time legendary songs, right? It's You Rock You Like a Hurricane and Still Loving You and Big City Nights and all that kind of stuff. But you go back and you listen to this record a little bit, it is similar to a lot of these albums in that double guitar, soloing and Klaus's vocals and all that kind of stuff. So, they just happen to hit upon a couple of lucky songs. I think that, Rock You Like a Hurricane is just so massive and ridiculous.
And I never need to hear it again, but it's great.
Right? Like never. It's crazy.
Never.
But it is an all-time legendary song. So, not a favorite band of mine. I'm sort of a Scorpions hits guy. Like that's, I know the hits. I have a couple of albums. They're not my favorite. I think they're very good. I'm going to start off very simple. I think I'm going to put this one in B.
Solid.
What do you think?
I like it. That's where I had it.
Okay. Charlie, any thoughts on this record?
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Roy. I mean, this was never a band that really I had on heavy rotation at the time. I know the hits. Obviously, I have massive respect for the band, and but yeah, it's not something I would ever put on to kind of get that feeling, like a
right.
There was like a social awareness from them. There's a song on there called Crossfire that, he's talking about. It was during the Cold War, so those of us that are of a little bit of advanced age, we thought Russia was going to blow us up. We're going to blow them up. And that song he's talking about, we're much too young to die. And I remember I was 14. So I was just kind of coming into this consciousness of, there's a bigger world out there. And hearing that, I was like, he's singing to me. Here's a long-haired guy singing to me. So, like it was sort of this camaraderie that we all know in the metal world. People think we're all a bunch of scary dudes, and we're like, no, we give hugs and stuff, man. And I just felt like here's the singer from the Scorpions inviting me into his world.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. All right, cool. So good start. Vic, let's see what we got.
Oh boy.
Look at that logo spinning in the middle. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got it right here.
Metal!
Hypnotic. Yeah.
Ah.
All right. Sepultura, Beneath the Remains.
So for my buddy Daniel,
I guess this is one of your favorites,
Brazil,
right?
Sepultura, the Brazil. Wow. So, in my shaping of metal and music, this was the decade where, I had my first job, so I was able to save up money and go to the CD store and get the albums that I wanted. And this actually, and my mom will appreciate this story, this was an album that I got for Christmas, and I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when my mom shows up at the CD store and tells the guy behind the counter that she wants to get Sepultura, Beneath the Remains. And to this day, my mom remembers that title very well because it was just one of those oddities, like, what am I getting him? This is, so several things. How much I like the album, love this album. It is Sepultura. It was before Chaos AD. Chaos AD, they sort of started honing in their own sound, which was more of a groove-based, tribal-based sound. But this is full-on death metal, growling vocals, speed that really fit the same environment that it was in back in the late 80s. And this one and Arise are two of my favorite albums of theirs. My goodness, they just had that sound. They had that power. They were touring with Slayer. They were touring with big bands at the time. And it was great to see an international band just doing that kind of stuff. Let's see. Let me do my research here. Where was my tier there? I actually have this in tier A.
Okay.
It's towards the bottom. Towards the bottom of my tier, but it is a band. It's a band that I love, and this is in Between Arise and Beneath the Remains. It's my two favorite albums of theirs, and this album, if you talk to the metalheads, generally this is an album that just ranks right up there because it is just from start to finish. It's just an onslaught of great thrash, and what more could you want as a metalhead to want something that's powerful and fast? And they just took it to a different level.
Yeah,
I'm really glad you got that record. I'm happy for you.
Exactly.
That would have been on the lower end for you, Kyle.
I'm sure. I'm
sure.
sure.
I wouldn't have had a whole lot to say about that one. Yeah.
You know what? I never got into Sepultura. I mean, it was actually cool. Some of this whole list, out of these 20 albums, I'd say maybe half were albums that I really liked and I knew well. There's another another 5 or so that I knew but didn't like, and then there's a few that I'd never actually listened to before. So this is one of those bands I knew but I didn't really love. So I don't know.
But yeah, this was a big one for me as well. Same, like Beneath the Remains and Arise. That was my era.
I can appreciate the playing on it though. The playing on it's really good. The vocals are that's the tough part for me.
I mean, I just saw
Same.
I saw them on the Arise tour at Hammersmith Odeon, as it was called back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just didn't see them again live until like just last year, or what year are we in? Last year, where they played the same venue, their 40th anniversary, like their final tour, and same venue, Hammersmith, and they ended the set with, they saved up all the Beneath the Remains and Arise songs for the end, and it was just
oh cool, nice.
Was this a tour with Grayson Nekrutman on drums?
Yes.
Because Eloy left to go to Slipknot.
Listen, I'd love all the Sepultura reminiscing, but if we do this for every album, we will be here for 3.5 hours.
We'll talk later, Charlie.
So,
it's okay.
Yeah, you guys can have a private phone call.
Offline.
All right,
one little factoid about that album, though. If you know Obituary's Cause of Death,
yes,
that was originally supposed to be the cover of Beneath the Remains, but they couldn't use it because of
Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power.
That's another classic, but we'll talk later.
Let's see. All right.
All right. So next one, Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power.
Let's see where Kyle puts this one. This will be interesting.
Let's go, Graves.
So,
come on, Graves.
This is don't worry, I got you. It was the 90s, like that metal was a dirty word in the 90s. We all know that. It went underground, and as thankfully as the internet became a thing, we were able to kind of like search out, those of us that are big music fans. Most people thought metal just died, but it was still there. You just had to go looking for it. Pantera almost single-handedly flew the flag for metal in the 90s. Nothing but respect for them. I loved Cowboys from Hell. I love a good, singer, which he was doing great on that stuff. But then it changed with this album in '92. You had the double punch of Dimebag's guitar riffs. I mean, riffs for days, every single song, which is like, how is he coming up with these great riffs? His brother coming up with killer drum patterns, drum fills, Rex holding it down, and then you had Phil doing his vocal thing, which was still it was a lot of shouting, but it was melodic shouting. I know you and Charlie and Vic love the death metal stuff. I think Roy and I agree. I need a good singer. But Phil made it at least melodic enough and just punchy and heavy. Think about the way This Love starts out. You just got that nice mellow guitar, and then all of a sudden the chorus kicks in, and it's just like you're shredding your girlfriend. It's so heavy. So I guess we should probably back up. We never really qualified why we picked these records. I don't know, Roy, if you want to discuss that, but like it's as random can be, because if you get 4 other metalheads together, they'd have picked 20 different albums, right? These weren't like the biggest selling records. They weren't the most cool, groundbreaking records necessarily. We just sort of randomly picked albums. So this, I say all that to say, as we make our rankings, as we say on every wheel, something's got to be at the bottom because there's so many great ones that you want at the top. I put Pantera C.
Wow.
Because you'll find out why. You'll find out what's in my
No,
S,
that's
A, and B.
that's insane. This was my matter of fact 100% S tier. Like that's it.
I got you. I know that, but there's
Jesus
others.
Christ.
There's so many others.
The
There's so many
controversy
is-
has established.
Man,
Sorry,
man,
I
you
think
hurt
you're
me.
gonna have a heart attack. Yeah. We can still be friends.
Hey,
Well,
to quote,
I don't know. I think
to quote a very famous lyric, you keep spinning but never winning. So,
that's right. Yeah, no kidding. Wait, Vic, this would be S tier for you too, wouldn't it?
totally. This particular album is to me it's a desert island album.
You know what I'm thinking, that on Ace Ventura, where he's like, Finkel is Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel. The
Right.
other part, I'm like, Kyle is Jeff, Jeff is Kyle.
Nope.
No, this
Tomorrow, my wife and I are like, we've got a bunch of stuff we got to get done around the house. We will be jamming this album tomorrow. I guarantee it. We love Vulgar Display of Power. I'm telling you. But there are so many other records on this list. I had to put it a little further down. I love this record. I love this.
Charlie, where are you on this one?
Oh, I mean, yeah, this has got to be S tier for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Of course.
Cowboys and this one are level for me.
Yeah.
It's interesting what
Yeah.
you're saying.
telling
Like,
you.
All right,
like,
so
yeah,
we're gonna have to listen. It's gonna end up higher. We're gonna make it happen.
you got to
Don't
fix
worry.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix this travesty.
All right.
All right,
Charlie's up. Charlie's up.
Charlie's up.
hope
Here
it's
we
one
go.
I've heard.
I really thought you were gonna be like, all right, I'll put it in A. I thought you were gonna be like, I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'll put it
tell
in
you
A.
why.
Metal Church, Blessing in Disguise.
Possible
Charlie,
payback.
this is you.
Metal Church. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't really a band that I had on regular rotate. They were kind of like on the scene around the time of, like, I was into Metallica in a big way. And I remember hearing about them first from, they did a show at the Marquee in London, Metal Church, and the opening band was a secret band were opening called the Four Horsemen. I think they were billed as.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
one of those. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
and it was
They
Metallica. and it
opened
was-
for Metal Church.
Yeah.
No way.
Amazing.
That's
So that's how
That's awesome.
I didn't go. I heard about it after. I didn't wish I had gone, but
Well,
That
do
was
you know
my
the
first
connection there,
introduction to-
Charlie?
sorry.
Do you know
John
the
Marsh?
connection between Metal Church? Yeah, John Marshall from Metal Church played for James when he burned his hand, right?
Yeah, well, he was. I think he was Kirk's tech for a while,
Right.
and he was the
Right.
guy that introduced the Mesa Boogie amps to them.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
There's one
Wow.
there.
Nice.
And I think it was like after Ride the Lightning, they were looking to kind of change their sound up a little bit. And John Marshall was like, "Why don't you try this new amp?"
Wow.
Which was became the kind of iconic Metallica tone
Mhm.
kind of thing. But
Very
yeah,
cool.
and this album, this Metal Church album, has got some killer riffs, killer production. The guitar tone is amazing.
So where are you putting it?
Oh man, I mean, so I can only choose S or D, right?
No.
No.
No,
Anywhere.
You can choose anywhere
Because
right
anywhere?
now.
All right.
Nothing is
Until the
maxed
row
out.
is full.
Per tier.
You can put anything anywhere, even
Oh,
when
anywhere.
it's full. You
Okay,
just-
right.
well, yeah.
All right.
It gets complicated later, not yet.
All right. I'll just go. This is my first time. I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm going to go. I'm going to go B.
Come on.
That's a good spot.
Right in the middle.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
like
spot.
it. I like it.
Personally, Badlands is my favorite Metal Church song. It's kind of like for in the metal realm, the way that the song builds and the middle breakdown and everything else. It's very epic in my opinion. And just correct me if I'm wrong. This is Mike Howe's first album, so this is their quote unquote newer sound that they had. And
Right.
Mike's vocals, I associate Metal Church's sound. It's got to be Mike Howe.
Yep. Same. David Wayne was great,
Right.
but Mike Howe ushered in a whole new thing. But I will say real quick, Roy, I know you're trying to rush on. 9.5-minute song about homelessness. They are a prog band. They are a classic metal band. They are a thrash metal band. They got it all covered. Nice call, Charlie. I like it. I'll take B.
All right.
Okay. All right, I'm up. Let's
He's
see.
thinking
This is,
Pantera is below Metal Church. How's that?
yeah,
I
it's
don't
just not
understand
sitting
this
well. It's not sitting
So
well.
many good ones.
Okay. All right. At least I can do something correct. Metallica, Ride the Lightning. All right. So this is how the wheel of metal works, Kyle. You take a good album and you put it on S tier. That's how it works. That's what you do.
I might have to move it, but anyway.
Listen, I mean,
There's time.
this
It's
album,
we're in-
yeah, it's not, I don't think many people, I don't know, for some people it might be their favorite Metallica album. I think most people probably would say Master is the better one, but I think this one is right there. I mean, this one sort of defines the era to come, really. Everything on this album is what everyone else tried to do later, plain and simple. And it still holds up now, and the riffs are awesome. And like even a song like Fade to Black and now is just still better than most of the songs on the rest of this wheel. So I think it's easy.
You know, this album sort of gave them the template. They used the same template as far as, the ballad was the fourth song. The instrumental was the second to the last song for this one, for Master, for Justice, which is what a great run of albums there. And this sound was, a lot more song-centered as opposed to Kill 'Em All, which was just riff-centered, blow up your head, So, yeah, it's the argument between this and Master of Puppets, they're kind of twins when it comes to that. But this album coming out first, it's very impressive. I can't argue anything else other than S tier, especially with how influential Metallica is in the metal world.
Yeah, I think hearing 30 seconds or whatever of like, I don't know if it's acoustic guitar at the how the album opens, but you're right.
Yeah.
They went from just like riff, and they start out with a brand new album. You're like, what is this? Oh, it's pretty. And then all of a sudden it kicks in. But awesome record.
Charlie, I mean, your Tiktaalika logo is a big tribute to this, right? I mean, simply put.
Of course. Yeah.
Hold that up again.
Oh, this one. Yeah. Right.
Oh, I just happen to have it right here. Yeah.
I mean,
there
it's
it
like,
is.
it's badass. All right, so we're gonna move on there. Good. Then we got that settled. Vic.
All right. Come on. Let's see what we got. Oh, yes.
All right.
Yes. Oh,
Testament, the New Order.
This is a whole nother podcast discussion of metal if we want to do this. You've got the big four. My argument, it should be the big five. Testament should be in that group. Alex Skolnick, just one of my longtime guitar heroes. And this is a band that their discography from beginning to end, compared to any of the big four, probably is the strongest. And they keep coming out with albums, and they're great. This is their second album. And it's just one of those things where so many songs from there are still played live. And if anybody who's a fan and likes deep cuts, they actually released an album called First Strike Still Deadly sometime in the early 2000s. And they went back into the studio and re-recorded those songs in the studio, which sonically, that is just a crisp sounding album. It's so good, still maintaining their power. This album in this list, considering how much I love it feels strange doing this. It's an A tier. So kind of next to Beneath the Remains for me. Because you can only put four in each tier, but this is a tier. I think it's great for them. It's just their songs and the style that they're playing is. I can't say anything other than it's at the top half.
Yeah,
been on my CD collection for a very long time.
I think that's a personal opinion, I guess. I don't have a problem with knowing the history of the band, their importance, and how you like them. For me, it would probably be lower, looking at some of the albums that are still left. But
Hey, I'm 2 for 2 getting stuff that I like, unfortunately. So
That's great.
Right.
I'm happy for you. Skolnick was like overqualified. You know, he was overqualified to be in a thrash band. Just kind of like I felt that way about Joey Belladonna being overqualified because he was just a great singer, you know, and
Right.
kind of a
Alex
steps
Skolnick
above.
is on the he's going to be on the upcoming cruise, and he's been on the Prog cruise a few times playing with different people. He's the nicest guy in the world, and
wow.
so not a
Super nice.
metal guy. If you talk to him, it's
Right.
like, have you talked to him, Charlie, before on the ship?
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's so chill. He's like the
got his-
nicest person.
He's got his jazz trio.
He's got a the
Yeah.
jazz trio is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be on it this year. It's really cool.
Oh,
amazing player. Yeah.
All right, Kyle. Let's see.
Come on. There's a
Let's
lot
go.
of records I got in S&H here.
Oh
You guys are
no,
gonna
he
hate.
got it. Darn it.
Oh,
I
look at
wanted
his
to
shirt.
get-
Oh,
no.
boy.
I wanted this album because I
Come
wanted to
on.
get back at you.
Always
right.
spinning, never winning.
Savatage Streets.
So-
I know where this is going.
all right.
Okay.
So here, and you're right, and you're absolutely right. And here's the thing. So Charlie, we talked kind of offline about this, and to anybody that's watching, you can either rank these how you think the rest of the world would rank them, right? Metallica is
Which is
Metallica.
the
How are you
which
not-
is the
not gonna
correct
put
way.
them- Or there's 4 of us on here with 4 different opinions. We all came up in different places and had different favorites. Savatage is a band that never quite made it to that next level. Now, I think certainly the 4 of us know what they became, which is Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but a lot of people don't know that. I talk to coworkers all the time who are not metal people, and they know TSO, of course, but they've never heard of Savatage. But 1979, so I got to lay the groundwork. 1979, you had The Wall. 1988, you had Operation Mindcrime. 1997, you had A Pleasant Shade of Gray. 1999, you had Scenes from a Memory. 4 classic concept albums, rock operas, depending on what you want to call it. Streets came out in 1991. It is a mind blower of a rock opera. This was the precursor to what Trans-Siberian became. It's very Broadway, but it's also very metal. It's classical. It's all these different things. And that really spoke to me. I can bang my head with the best of them, but I always liked a little bit of intelligence in my metal. I like classical influences and things like that. So when Paul O'Neill came and connected with these guys for Hall of Mountain King, he helped craft their sound. And he was like, guys, you're something. You're a great ball of clay. Let me help mold you. So you had a guitar player in Chris Oliva, who is a guitar player's guitar player.
Yes.
So many guitar players reference him. Unfortunately, he's been gone for 30 years, was killed by a drunk driver, but an amazing singular style of a talent, like a Randy Rhoads.
The
you got
opening
John
riff
Oliva,
on Jesus Saves is just
yeah, totally. I'm glad. Oh, you're glad you're a Savatage
amazing.
guy, Charlie.
Amazing.
We need to hang out. But yeah, they toured with Megadeth and Dio, and they just never quite made it to that level. And then TSO exploded, and they got put on hold. But thankfully, they're back this year. They're going to be doing some festivals and stuff. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's probably on the wall behind me, I think, somewhere. But I have to put it in S tier. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to you and probably most people watching. But when half of these bands are on my arm, and Savatage, if they deserve a place on my arm, they got to be. I can't put them in like D tier. Come on. Streets.
So-
If you don't know listen to
it's
Streets.
so-
If you don't have time to listen to Streets, listen to Believe.
Listen.
I'm just, for anybody watching, listen to Believe. It's amazing.
Okay,
and Justin
so
Bell as well.
I've never been a big Savatage guy. It's way too opera for me. But
You're from Florida. Come on.
but I
Yeah, no kidding.
I tried listening to this album because I didn't know this album. I would not have had it at S. That's all I'm gonna say.
Sure,
It would be
sure.
way low for me.
Yeah.
It's very corny, but cool,
Oh,
man.
good.
Congratulations. Very happy that you like it so much.
It's amazing.
If I
And their
if I
whole
was going to
catalog.
introduce anybody to Savatage, I would say Edge of Thorns. Listen
That's
to
what that's the album I knew. That's
It's
the one
more-
I thought.
it's the more
I-
popular
Commercial.
one.
I was actually surprised this was the one on the list when I went back to look at it, but I know it's your band, so I was like, cool.
I made most of the list. No, you guys didn't object, so I'm like, cool. I snuck.
Yeah,
one
no,
out.
we fixed a couple that we thought were missing and whatever. This one we sort of just left, but I was looking back later and I was like, oh, I thought we were going with the other one, but nevertheless.
Right
Where would
there,
you put
baby.
this, Charlie?
Where am
Just
I?
curious.
Yeah, I'd put it pretty high. Like, just from just the fact that it didn't become popular doesn't speak of the quality of it. And
Yeah.
I'm a real sucker for a rock opera. Right? Like I love Jesus Christ Superstar, and it's kind of in between that and Operation Mindcrime sonically for me. This
Yep.
presentation.
I'm pretty sure, Charlie. I'm pretty sure we just became best friends, buddy.
Yeah.
Right now, it
So
just happened.
Yes.
Besties.
Did we just become best friends? Okay. All right, Charlie, your turn.
All right, Charlie's up.
This is funny, man.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Do the right thing.
All right, Maiden, Somewhere in Time.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I have a feeling I know where this is going. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I wasn't really a huge Maiden fan. I had a couple of cassettes, right, on my Walkman back in the day. But I just knew, like, Number of the Beast. I knew pretty well. Maybe one other, like, in the era. But this is one I definitely revisited later on in my kind of more adult years. And of course, it's an all-time classic. I definitely judge an album by its cover, right? This is like,
this was the era for the covers. That's for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, they always had amazing artwork, but this is probably my favorite Maiden album cover. I love like the whole Blade Runner reference and everything, and yeah. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's a Maiden album. It's got this is the one with
Wasted Years.
Wasted Years.
Wasted Years, and what's the final? The
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great. That one. That's what a song. Amazing. I mean, it's hard not to put it high because of the cultural importance of them. So I'm gonna say A because maybe not their best album, but still a classic.
Hold on. Let's see. Hold on.
A.
All right, so Charlie, once again, we're proving
Oh, there it is.
that we're best friends.
Can't see it.
There we go.
Can't see it.
Oh wow,
there it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Wow,
got
that's
it?
nice. That's great.
Yeah, we're besties.
Yeah, I was
buddy.
just saying this is definitely my favorite Maiden album cover. So yeah, nice,
love it.
amazing. Artwork.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm good with A. I thought maybe some of you guys might just because it's Maiden right away put it in S, and which would be fine too. But you know what? I'm not the biggest Maiden guy. I've said it. It's just not my kind of metal. Like, and Bruce Dickinson, I know he's amazing, but it's just a bit too opera style singing for me. As good as he is, but the guitar work is just phenomenal on this record. And stuff like Wasted Years is just great. It's just good, awesome stuff. So yeah, A's cool. All right.
And you can learn history. Who knew you could learn history from a Maiden record? Alexander the Great. Come on. I didn't even know where Macedonia was.
Yeah, I love a history song. Love one.
Who is this? Is
Rust
this me?
in Peace. Megadeth. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Roy. Rust in Peace.
Megadeth, Rust in Peace. Well, this is funny because
Oh no.
I do not like Dave Mustaine's vocals. I think he's one of the worst lead singers ever. But oddly enough, they have many albums, most of which I don't like at all. But this one is like an amazing album. It's actually really, really good. The songs here are like iconic, right? So, and talking album covers, like this is one of the best album covers for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be reasonable because it is a good album and it does have a lot of great songs. I will put this in A.
A is filled now. A is filled
Solid.
now.
Good choice. Good choice.
Listen, Marty Friedman, this Marty Friedman's album, or Marty Friedman joining Megadeth, comes out with this album. And as good as Megadeth had been up to this point, this album just really, I mean, the technicality, the song structure, the solos, the long, jamming solo sessions, What a great album, start to finish. An all-time for me. For me, would have been S.
Yep. Same. It's
Yeah.
classic. I actually had it in A, but S, no problem.
Did you have it in A? I'm surprised.
I did.
I
but then
thought
had to
thought
move it
this
out
was
'cause I
for
put something
sure
else there.
S for you. Interesting.
Too many other good ones.
I know your S by now. I've totally figured you out. I got it exactly. I know where everything is landing.
Just
But I
Hanger-
mean, look, after this album, they did Countdown to Extinction, and then just a run of very weak records after this. In my opinion,
Euthanasia? You didn't like Euthanasia?
Euthanasia's terrible.
Oh my good gracious!
we need to we need
the
to
chance of Dave's never going to come on the Prog Report now.
we need to
We're almost there.
we need to do a wheel of Megadeth, because there's plenty of stuff to go through
But
there.
yeah, like 19 albums or something ridiculous.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let's move on.
Charlie's in.
Hey, but A is good. Okay.
I might actually prefer
Vic.
Countdown as a controversial.
Ooh,
Countdown,
that's
love it.
interesting.
Love Countdown.
Overkill.
Overkill.
Vic, Overkill. Years of Decay.
He's
Do the right thing,
you know,
Vic.
he's.
You know what's very funny? You know what's very funny though? Like I got Scorpions, Metallica, Megadeth. Very straight down the middle pitches. You know, like
Yep.
very and Vic's getting Sepultura, Testament, Overkill, right up his alley. And you got Savatage. Like it's very everybody's getting their thing.
Nah,
It's good.
1989. Overkill. Not my favorite album of theirs, but man, that East Coast just thrash and speed. Their signature sound with Bobby Blitz and Dee Dee Verney, those two are what sort of separate them from everything else that's out there. This is a great album. Just a lot of high energies. Horoscope is in this, that's actually more of a headbanging sort of pounding song. They even had a video of that song on MTV, which to me was the oddest thing that Overkill had made it to that point. This may come as a shocker to many people. As much as I like this album, and on my list, I actually, although the C tier with Vulgar Display is actually worthy, I have this at C tier. Because of everything else that I have ranked, the album, which I love, but C tier, something's got to go down there. And
Something's got to go in D, guys. I know you guys like every album, but this is gonna happen.
I'm fine with none of these albums being in D, no problem. So
Actually, both those albums, Volga and the Overkill one, were produced by Terry Date.
Oh, that's right.
Classic.
Who also
They kinda
produced
sounds
the very
funny.
first Dream Theater record. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which that was, I should have mentioned during the Pantera thing, which like one of my favorite facts about Pantera and Terry Date, like who put those two people together? Do you know?
Mm-mm.
The singer from Gentle Giant, right?
Wow.
Is that right?
Was that when he was
Oh, is
was
it,
doing A&R? He was
yeah.
when he was doing
Derek
Like,
Simon.
like Eric Stolman.
Showman.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
the
yeah,
guy that-
Showman, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the guy that put Pantera
What a
with
trip.
Terry Date. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Crazy.
Smart dude. Yep.
Fun fact. Fun
All right.
fact.
A
Nice.
Prog fact in the middle of wheel metal.
Prog
That's
Prog
it.
never dies on this channel.
You were talking about Testament. You were talking about Testament being in your big four, Vic. Overkill's in mine. I love Overkill.
Yeah.
Okay.
we go.
Priest, Painkiller. There's an R missing. Painkiller.
Oh,
This was Priest was my gateway drug into metal. I was like 10 years old. I had an older brother turned me on to Priest and Maiden and AC/DC and all the classics. And so I loved Priest all through the 80s. I've probably seen Maiden, Priest, Queensryche, and Dream Theater 60 odd times, but I've seen all of them 25 plus times. Priest did exactly what they needed to do in 1990. They evolved, they got Scott Travis as a drummer, and that changed everything.
amen.
Dave Holland was fine. He was kind of a 4 on the floor guy, but what Scott can do with both of his feet changed the game. They could obviously evolve and do much different stuff. So we talked about metal being a dirty word in the 90s, but to kick off the decade in 1990 with Painkiller, we all, I don't know if it was one of those videos you saw it on Headbangers Ball for that first time, and that drum intro kicks in and everybody's in the car headbanging, you know. Just masterful metal. You know what I'm saying? For a new decade. Rob Halford, we thought he was the metal god before. He was up here before. He was up here on Painkiller. Just out of this world, groundbreaking drummer to sing in that style when nobody was, even in the 70s, but then to evolve in the 90s and to go higher than he ever did. Some of my favorite Priest songs: Nightcrawler, Touch of Evil on this record, All Guns Blazing, Hammer and the Anvil, great album. I'd probably say if I had to choose, Screaming for Vengeance or Defenders might be my top Priest, but out of this list, I love this record. That said, I have this in B, which there is still space, so we're going to put it there.
Yeah, something's got to go in B. Yeah, you know what's amazing is like I had the Screaming for Vengeance record when I was younger, and then also that and like the earlier Priest stuff was like considered metal, but like compared to this, it's like not even close.
Yeah.
It's
hard rock,
no way metal. This was like what became of this band? It really went nuts. But it was cool. It was a really big album at the time. I mean, they got really popular again based off of this record in the 90s. So that was
Didn't Halford like quit after this record?
Yes, that's when he left to go on his solo, and Travis Smith followed him.
Yeah.
So
all right.
What shame.
Scott Travis.
Yeah. No, this is the album that actually made me a Priest fan. Was Painkiller. So it is my favorite album.
Oh, wow.
And even Jugulator with Tim Ripper Owens, there were some really cool parts in that one. But yeah, Painkiller, all time classic. I would have put it in A, but I don't have a problem with it in B.
I mean, what would you have taken out of A? Right now, A is full. So, who is up? Was it Charlie?
It is Charlie.
Oh,
Yngwie and Trilogy.
Hey, I wore the shirt. There you go.
Oh boy!
Oh,
yes.
Wow!
Yes.
Nice.
Come on.
This is
Very
working.
cool.
How is
That's
this
what that
working
shirt
out?
was. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Yngwie, of course, he's known as one of the most influential guitar players in history. You know, he's like especially in metal. You know, it's like you can pretty much track back. You know, take any metal guitarist from modern times, and you can either go back to Yngwie or back to Holdsworth. Like those are the two starting points, and then you can, for guitar players, they kind of all branch from there. And Mark Bowles on vocals, one of my favorite Yngwie vocalists. Just singing.
And again, another cover, just
range.
Very iconic album cover.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of sad. Like most Yngwie album covers is just a photo of him on his face. It's like Phil Collins or something. But
right.
The songs, first and foremost, I love the songs on this album. Like they're just like catchy as hell. Every chorus is a banger. And I mean, I see no other option than to put it in S.
Wow.
Whoa. You go, Charlie.
I'm blown away. I had no idea that you were such a Yngwie guy. That's amazing.
Huge.
But being a guitar player, it's not crazy, I suppose.
Yeah, I saw the shirt, but I couldn't quite tell. It was a little bit below the camera line, and I was like, "Is that an Yngwie shirt? That's fantastic."
That S tier is wild. That is a wild S tier.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So
We are
cool.
best friends. That's it. That's it. For discussion.
Okay. All right. Let's move on here. Let's move on.
Wow.
Okay, I'm up.
Nothing in D tier is wide open.
Listen, stuff is starting to go in D, guys. I got. Oh, sorry. Uh oh.
Oh.
Well, at least Halloween, Keeper of the Seven Keys. Well, not an album I wanted because I wanted to put something better somewhere. You know what? I actually had this on cassette back in the day.
Oh,
because
wow.
I liked I Want Out, which was a big MTV hit. They actually had a big MTV hit. Listen, I'm not doing this out of retaliation,
Come on.
but
Just do it. Just do it.
but based on how the wheel is shaped up, I feel like I have no choice. I would probably put this in C, but because we have to put something in D, I'm putting it in D. And I'm very sorry about this. But I know for you it's an S tier. So
We
at
are no
least that
longer-
didn't happen.
All right. So let me just explain something to you. There's not another album on this list that single-handedly invented a genre of music. Single-handedly. This was the kickoff. You had a band, the band Europe, on their first 2 records, they had a couple of power metal-y songs.
Right.
Halloween, Keeper of the Seven Keys, foundational power metal record, invented an entire genre. I am probably the only person you know, and probably anybody watching knows, about 20 years ago, I had a cat named Kiski. I currently have a dog in that room right there named Kiski. I used the name twice.
I actually think Kyle's never speaking to me again. I actually think that's
we're
what
done.
I just did.
We're done. Single-handedly invented a genre of power metal. Plus, Mr. Prog Report guy, a 13-minute epic called
That's right.
Halloween.
That's right.
I mean, show some respect.
Listen, look at I know for you it's an S tier. I get it, my brother.
Yeah.
I apologize. But look at that bottom row and tell me maybe other than Exodus, what album there goes in D? There is not one.
Gosh.
I got
Exodus,
some.
Pete.
That's not my turn, so.
So,
Mm.
Jason, what's a Jason Segel meme? Okay.
It's how it goes. It's how it goes.
Okay.
All right. Give me something good. Let's see.
Dio.
So my
It's another
somewhat
ridiculous album, Holy Diver.
a great cover, another one that's iconic cover. This is Dio's first solo album after he left Sabbath, which was, this was kind of a domino effect with all the stuff that was happening in the early 80s. And it's amazing to me how you have Black Sabbath, Ozzy solo, Dio solo, just pretty cool tree that was going on there. Title track Holy Diver was covered by Killswitch Engage, which is favorite.
Great version they did.
It is a great version. In my ranking, in the grand scheme of things, this is something where a lot of it gave a lot of influence to the later metal albums that I was into. I actually have this in B tier.
Okay.
Because iconically his vocals, he just people sing like him. Because it's just one of those classic sounds. And Holy Diver was just, it's the defining one.
This is the opposite of many of the albums on this list where the vocals are actually the best part.
They're good songs. They're good songs, good melodic songs.
But he's great. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Definitively.
It's funny. I listened to this record for the first time in a long time last night, and Stand Up and Shout, Holy Diver, Don't Talk to Strangers, amazing songs. You guys remember the song Invisible?
Yeah.
There's a reason. It's not great. I was like, oh, this is an actually bad song. It's not even like, oh, it's not as good as the others. I was like, oof, this is the weak moment. Anyway,
and
good choice.
the guitar player from Def Leppard on there. Right?
There you go. Vivian shredding, man. Yeah.
He's holding it down. Okay, Kyle.
Let's fix some of this nonsense.
Oh goodness.
Come on. What we got? Oh boy. Okay. So I bet you Charlie or
it's an all-time classic, Slayer, Rain and Blood.
You're in the vast minority on this one.
Yeah. There's no denying Slayer's importance to the genre. There's just no question. Master of Puppets came out the same year, obviously much more technical and obviously much more kind of classic in a different way, I guess. But Slayer kind of always came across to me with Tom's vocals, kind of like a punk hardcore band with some thrashy guitars. His vocals were really kind of always the weak link for me. And they're great for what they are. Like, they work for Slayer, but they just weren't my cup of tea. There's Angel of Death, Raining Blood. You can't deny they're great songs, great metal songs.
He can make the same note work over any riff. It's amazing.
What's that?
Tom Araya can make the same note work over any key, any riff.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Variation. You're exactly right. I need some melody in my vocals. Therefore, I got to put Slayer down in D. Actually, I had it. I don't even need to move anything. I know. But here's the deal, people. Here's the deal. You're missing out on having Halloween in S tier. So I'm going to have you all go put your head in the corner and think about what you've done.
Okay, listen. I know that Gene Hoglan is the one that recommended this technique, but Angel of Death, Dave Lombardo, that's an entire influence in drummers from that point onward.
Oh, the comments, Kyle, you should just turn off. You should just not go on the Don't go on the internet after this podcast comes out.
We talked about this. We said, guys, are we doing this ranked by popularity? Is this what people want to hear? Do they want Metallica and Slayer and all these great bands up in S? And they're all great, but when you compare them to everything in this list, my own personal myopic youth, or the albums that I love.
Listen, Charlie, this is why the wheel is what it is, because you get whenever you do these things, you get three people that are all like, yes, this is how it should be, and then there's always one person who's like, forget it, I'm throwing it all out.
Right? There's no rules. It's metal. There's no rules, man. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because, the place you probably want to put it is full already, so it's tricky.
Yeah, but then you can move things around. That's the beauty of it.
We're about to get to that point where we can move things.
All right, Charlie.
Sorry about that, Slayer fans. Sorry.
Whew. My goodness.
I'm hurting right now.
Why couldn't I get this record? Do the right thing, Charlie.
Ozzy, Diary of a Madman.
Yeah, I mean,
you're talking guitar. What are we doing?
Yeah, incredible, right? Randy Rhoads. This is his final record, right?
Yeah.
The last track on.
So let me tell you before you decide. So now, because we have A and B that have 4, you can now, if you want to put this in A or B, you can, but you're gonna have to move something.
Yeah.
And so you can just use that logic.
I mean, I can't help but include the album artwork as part of the judgment on this as well, which is is a horrible album cover.
It's hilarious.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate when you see, someone's actually had a paintbrush and mixed colors and created something. I appreciate that. When it's just like a
all right. Don't ruin it for me, man.
But of course, you can't deny the legendary Randy Rhoads. The songs, catchy as hell. Incredible choruses. What's the last song on this album? I'm just trying to think.
Isn't it Diary of a Madman?
Diary of a Madman. Yeah, I mean, just the opening chords on there. So amazing. Just beautiful. And listening to the latest Dream Theater album makes me think of that intro. There's a lot of that kind of chord progression stuff. Just
interesting.
An aside there. I bet they were listening to this album recently.
And Sons of Apollo did do a cover of Diary of a Madman with an orchestra.
Oh, right. Okay, I didn't even know that.
The live. That's right. That's right.
All right, so I'm gonna move some stuff around.
Let's do it.
Charlie, let's go.
Can I move more than one thing?
Well,
there can be a domino effect. So
So I'm going to put Metal Church in C. Maiden in B, like to take its place, and then
And Ozzy
this
and A.
album can go in A, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Good. That's I think that's a good move you just did there. Yeah. I think Diary of a Madman is definitely A. I think the first Blizzard of Oz I'd probably put S tier, and then this one just a smidge below it. But I mean, Over the Mountain, Flying High Again, those are legendary.
If
just
this album
awesome.
had one song on it and it was called Diary of a Madman, it would be S tier. It's classical, it's metal, it's progressive. That song alone blows my mind every time to this day.
Yeah.
Cool
Amazing.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
the
good,
cover,
Charlie,
the
that was
cover.
smart. All right, my turn. Come on, Warning.
Oh. It worked.
There you go.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Queensryche Warning. All right. Well, listen, this is one of the greatest albums ever made. Just awesome stuff. Road to Madness, Take Hold of Flame, NM156, all these awesome songs that I appreciate more even now, because when I was first into Queensryche, it was Empire, Operation Mindcrime, and then you start going back and then you realize that later on how awesome this stuff is. And was it the last cruise or maybe the one before that? I don't remember at this point. It's been so many, but when Queensryche was on it with Todd LaTorre, and they played like a bunch of these songs.
It was the last.
Was it the last one?
Yeah.
And my goodness, it was just awesome. It's just the best. I love this stuff. Queensryche, the early up until Promised Land, Queensryche is just the greatest. Everything after that is okay. But those albums are just amazing.
I love Promised.
And if we're just putting stuff wherever we like it at this point, this is going up in S tier.
Wow. I'm all right with that. I'm good.
I don't have a problem with that.
When we originally made the list, I had to go Rage.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad we changed it because I love this album so much. I would have killed somebody if it went anywhere but S. I had this actually in A, but S is great. Love it. Roads to Madness. NM156. Who was writing about artificial intelligence in 1984? Nobody.
That song is just so killer. Even still, it's crazy. Yep. It's so good.
No,
and Jeff Tate was just ridiculous.
And it's always in it's very early form, but they had a 10-minute epic on this. So, that's where they were already thinking beyond what normal metal was going. And
could that have been the first prog metal epic, 1984? Was there anything that was kind of a mini epic prog metal was coming out. There was Fates. It was Queensryche.
84.
Anybody else have a 10-minute song like that? It's got to be the first, I think. People will tell us in the comments, and then they'll tell me that I suck for picking Savatage for S, but whatever.
No, you're gonna get picked more for Slayer and D. That's
Slayer and D is nuts. That's
Slayer
crazy.
fans. They're gonna hurt me.
All right.
Slayer would like that. They would put us down.
All right, Vic.
All right, Vic stuff. All right.
Come on. There you go.
Ah.
Anthrax, Among the Living.
So, Master Puppets, Rain and Blood, and Among the Living. That was Among the Living was 1986 as well, wasn't it?
87.
87.
I had it.
All right.
Yeah.
Missed by a year. There's going to be some movement. So, Cottonamash is my signature Anthrax song. If I want to just go crazy on guitar, I love that song. Gosh. So
I don't know,
something. How in the world is this going to happen?
Yeah. This is tough.
Well, no, because there's a major domino effect. And I'm trying to figure out.
I think you can make an adjustment in C. I think there's an album in C that maybe is ranked a little too high.
An album.
I'm sorry. In B. There's an album in B that I think is probably ranked a little too high.
Gosh.
I mean, listen. If you want to, is this an S tier for you?
No. This falls into A for me. But I'm trying to think, if I put something in A and then I take something in A that I think should go in S, and then that means S is full. So where do I put the S? By definition, it can only come down one. So then I have to take a second A and move it down to B, which then B has to go down. So that's why it's a massive.
This would be the domino effect of all time.
So
Let's
okay.
do it. Let's go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
First,
already stupid enough.
go ahead. Put Anthrax in A. Let's start there. We are going to move Rust in Peace into S.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How is this going to work?
So now one of those S has to go down to A.
Okay.
And that means, so I'm going to love you, Kyle. Savatage goes down to A.
Yeah. It was a matter of time.
So now one of those has to go down to B. Let me see.
But it should not. It can't be Savatage because that would be sort of cheating.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. Kyle likes that rule. So early on in the game, I put Sepultura at A.
That's
out of personal preference.
Yep.
Now that it's shaped out of Sepultura, and I think Ozzy and Randy Rhoads deserves to be an A. Out of Testament and Sepultura, I like Testament a little bit better. So we're going to move Sepultura, the Brazil, down to B. And my goodness. Oh.
Just another little, I think it's the fact that I think it's the case that the album cover of this album, Among the Living, is the same artist that did Master of Puppets. Little factoid there.
The Beneath the Remains?
Master of Puppets and Among the Living.
Oh, okay.
Same guy.
He's struck. Okay, so what are the?
All right, so what?
Okay, so
I mean, just move Scorpions to C and just do it already.
Scorpions to C. Yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of got lost with it. All right, so historically, the biggest domino effect.
Historic placement of an album, Vic.
All right, everybody okay with that? Because
S seems much more reasonable now.
Okay.
Okay. Now.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
I couldn't rescue D. All right, Kyle is up.
You don't have to keep Yngwie in S on my account. You can.
No, but we do. Oh my good gracious! So Charlie, I was hoping you'd get this one because I have a feeling you're a pretty big fan.
Exodus.
Of Exodus. Yeah. I mean,
where's my mouse? There it is.
Okay. All right. Well, I know Vic is, and so I put it this way. Go ahead.
I'll let you off the hook.
Okay.
Love Exodus. This would not have been my choice for an album in this group. So go with that, my friend.
That's how I felt. Fabulous Disaster, Pleasure of the Flesh, even Impact is Imminent. That was like in the early 90s. All great Exodus records, and of course the pedigree with Kirk Hammett coming from them. All due respect. This record in particular, I didn't really listen to it back in the 80s. I had to go back and listen to it for this. And I went,
it was not good.
It's it's early thrash. It's noisy early thrash. They were finding their sound.
I did not care for this album when I went to listen to it.
Yeah. The next two records they put out, they found it. And they definitely were more of kind of, in that vein of being the next level, like Testament, like Overkill.
This has almost got like a kind of Kill 'Em All-ish kind of.
Yeah. But even raw, like like they weren't fully formed yet. Metallica was kind of fully formed right out of the gate. Yeah. So I don't even need to say anything more. Let's go in D.
Okay.
Even though I wish I could do some more domino things like Vic just got to do, but that's where I had.
Well, depending on how much Charlie likes Heaven and Hell, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Have fun, Charlie.
Charlie can take a hatchet to this thing.
Let's
see.
I mean, how can you How can you say anything bad about an album with Tony Iommi and Dio on it? Right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's-
Where are we? So pick a row, Charlie.
oh man, it's got to be pretty high.
Man, those top 3 rows are hot, like
I
really.
think
Yeah.
you
like,
can't have Ozzy Osbourne in A and then not have Iommi level pegging.
Kyle.
It's gonna
Yeah.
there's gonna have to.
Remember, we're besties. Remember, we're best friends, Charlie. We just bonded here.
You
Don't
just
ruin
met.
it,
You
man.
just met.
I'm gonna say Heaven and Hell in A.
Here we go.
And
Here
I'm
we
gonna
go.
move Testament to B. All right.
We're still besties.
And then
How dare you!
what's in between Maiden and Priest there?
Dio.
That's Dio.
Dio.
Holy Diver.
But you just put Dio in A with
Yeah,
Black Sabbath. So
so I think we can balance it out. We can move Dio down
good
to
call.
C. Just in
And
terms of historical
Wow,
significance.
you realize we did not move Pantera up at all from C.
well,
Whose choice
And
was that? That was a terrible choice.
well,
putting
no,
it-
hold on a second. Technically, he could still do that.
No,
Are
no,
we
no,
still
no.
just gonna shuffle everything?
No,
we're
no.
just doing that.
No, he could move Pantera
He
up.
could
and
only
then,
move it up to C. That's the best he could do is move it up to B. Just don't even. Just what's going down the D?
I'm gonna say let's move Metal Church down.
Yep, I think
To
that's
D.
good.
Fair enough. I love that record, but fair enough.
Me too. But, yeah.
Well, this is a bonkers list. I mean, just
That was hard, man.
bonkers.
gosh,
It's
that's
Welcome,
crazy.
America.
that C tier looks so good. Wow.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
They're all so good though, except for this.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right, real quick. Let's rank the rows real quick.
All right.
S. What goes first?
Ooh. My vote's for Rust in Peace.
Rest in peace.
Rust in Peace. That's my
Yeah,
vote
I'm with
for-
you on that.
Yeah.
Man, Ride the Lightning. That's tough. Rust in Peace is
that-
like the technical masterpiece. If it
Right,
were
Ride
if
the
it were
Lightning.
Rust in Peace and Master of Puppets, that would be a harder thing.
Yngwie before Queensryche?
I'm okay with putting Queensryche before.
So am
Yngwie.
I.
Me too.
But
Me
I
too.
leave it to the man with the shirt on. So
He
All right,
said it
no,
was
we're
cool.
good there. All right, A.
I think that's right.
I think that's good.
I'm solid with
B.
that.
Maiden before Priest.
As much as I like Priest, I would swap Maiden and Priest.
yep, definitely.
And then the last two on there are my personals, which I love the fact they ended up in B. So
All right.
roast seat. I Pantera.
I think Scorpions last on this row,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then
Maybe,
Exodus last on this row.
I would say Overkill and Dio probably swap those out of respect.
Yeah, out of respect, I'll give you that.
Last row, Slayer goes first.
Slayer first.
Oh, please. Did they invent an entire genre?
I don't think Halloween invented
double-
anything.
The double
Are you
kick.
kidding me?
The double
Roy,
kick
we will have an
invented.
entire podcast on that alone. Are you kidding? You don't know Halloween then, and you don't
Yeah,
know power metal apparently.
Every power metal band goes back to Halloween for sure.
Yep,
Yeah,
everyone.
That's true. But Slayer, every drummer that does double kick goes back to that album. Goes
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
That's so that is more than a genre. That's a style of playing drums. So, ouch. But
I
man,
think really. Well, let's see. How would I fix this? So my S tier. Well, I see. I think Pantera has to go in S, but maybe I would drop Yngwie to A, I guess, and drop Savatage, and like that would sort of be the domino effect a little bit. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, most of the rows are mostly good, but they each have a weird album sort of stuck in there. But
it's kind
yeah,
of an
hey,
outlier.
it's the crazy wheel. Charlie, thanks for doing this with us, man. It was a lot of fun.
I hope I didn't ruin it too much. And, thanks.
I'm the
Look
one
at that!
ruined
Look at
it.
that special effects. What's going on over there?
Wow.
What happened? You had a laser light show going on behind you.
Graves, you don't know
I
that?
did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do something-
Look!
Ah! There we go. No idea.
That's
great.
brilliant.
You got to pay extra.
That's
for
so
that.
cool. All right. Well, listen, if you know these records, if you love these records, if you hated some of these records, please leave your comments. Let us know what you liked or loved. Please be nice to our good friend Kyle. It's not his fault. And get Charlie's Tiktaalika album, Gods of Pangaea, out on March 14th. It's awesome. And if you like this music, you will definitely love that record. And check out the video for Lost Continent because it's amazing. Vic?
Really quick. If you like this kind of stuff, sign up for Charlie's YouTube channel or anywhere where he has shorts because he plays with that wall of amps behind him. He's playing riffs of every single band that we all love, and he does such a great job at it. Thank you for doing that, Charlie, because that's just a great trip down memory lane for us.
I'm going to do Savatage next, I think.
Yeah. Come here, bestie. Let's just virtual hug. Virtual hug.
All right, guys. Have a good night, and we'll see y'all again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Man, that was crazy. Hey, thanks for checking out the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all our socials and ProgReport.com, and we'll see y'all again real soon. Thanks.